Today, I'm going to walk you through the experience of using the OnePlus A6T. Right now, it's 8:48 in the morning and the phone is at 100% battery with a single SIM card. Let's check out the battery life. On the TV, let's look at digital well-being. Usage time is less than a minute, so we'll use that as the baseline. Here's the current system version. It's the latest 306 version. In the display settings, I see a few people standing together, resolution is set to auto switch, refresh rate and high refresh rate are both turned on, all the way up to 120 Hz. Let's clear all background processes and experience it, seeing what the advantages and disadvantages are. Then, is it worth buying?
Let's see how long it takes for the network to recover after exiting the elevator. 123,456. This is a significant number. 7 or 8. 9. 10.
Oh my god, 10 seconds.
Let's talk about its appearance and feel. To be honest, at first glance, I think it's almost identical to the OnePlus SA6. And what about the back cover? It feels pretty good to the touch. The camera module doesn't stick out much, and the frame is also black, a matte metal frame, which feels quite smooth. Actually pretty nice. As for the screen, it's still a Tianma panel. Let me show you the black borders. They're still pretty thick, quite thick. And the ultrasonic fingerprint sensor is really fast. Did you see that? It's super quick. Since it's sunny right now, let me show you how bright it gets outdoors. The brightness is generally sufficient, so what's the main difference in brightness compared to the AC16? First, the processors are different. Oh, the C16 uses the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, while this one uses the Snapdragon 8 Gen 5. Yeah, the 8 Gen 5, wow! Actually, it's not really a top-tier processor, let me tell you. The way Snapdragon names their chips these days is honestly kind of annoying. Actually, it's more like an upgraded version of the 8S Gen 4, which is a bit awkward. It's not the flagship 8 Gen 5. As for the battery, it went from 7,800 mAh up to 8,300 mAh, and it changed from a dual cell to a single cell design. The charging speed dropped from 120 watts to 100 watts, so charging is slower, but the battery lifespan is longer. It's now 12:16, and I've used 10% of the battery. A BIOS screen on with no wireless used. If it can consistently last an hour and a half of screen on time for every 10% of battery, then that's really unbeatable. Now, let me show you its camera performance. I think it's good enough for occasionally sharing something on your moments. You can take live photos, and you can adjust the soft light and other settings in here. You can get that hazy, soft, dreamy look, but the camera interface does lag a bit. All of these effects are available. Let me take a photo for you in the original color mode. This is at 0.6 times zoom. 0.6 times and then 1 times. 2x. So many cars, and maximum zoom goes up to 20 times, but honestly, anything past 5 times is a blurry mess. Only 1 and 2 times zoom are usable. See a photo at 2 times zoom. Yeah, check out this detail. Anyway, it's more than enough for sharing on your social feed. It's not just a basic phone for scanning QR codes. And for video, the maximum supported is 4K at 120. You see that? It supports up to 4K 120. For just over 2,000 yuan, you get 4K 120 support. And you can zoom in up to 2 times. At 3.5 times zoom, it gets really blurry, but within 2 times, it's still okay. What about the front camera? The front camera supports up to 1080 by 310, which is honestly pretty bad, way too bad. With the front camera at 80% battery, the screen stayed on for 2 hours and 40 minutes. Also, let me remind everyone about this Oppo series. As for the dedicated smart button, I think among all the smart buttons out there, Oppo's is really the best. Let me show you what it can do. For example, if we tap it lightly while watching something, it's like a one-tap split screen. Then it'll do an analysis. Remember this, okay? Tap to go in. Yeah, it's about to start analyzing now. Honestly, it's pretty smart and AI-powered, I'm telling you. Yeah, it even analyzes things like levels, character story interactions. It's actually pretty interesting, and it even works with Xiaohongshu. On Xiaohongshu, the things you like. This works too.
Yeah.
With one tap, it remembers and analyzes. Got it, okay. It's actually pretty fast, and then it summarizes for you. So what's the main point of this Xiaohongshu post? It's really smart. Besides these, it can do more, right? For example, if you order food and go to pick it up, just press it once to analyze. Okay, see that? Authorize and use. So how much did it cost? And what are the other codes? 35,414, 415. Let's also check if it supports multiple pickup codes now. They remembered that too. 0 errors. Where's my pickup code? Is there only one tilde? Confirm pickup? So it still doesn't support it yet, huh? Look, the brightness is already set to the highest, and the sun is out today, but it's brightness. Well, it's usable anyway. The outdoor brightness definitely isn't super bright, it's just enough to get by. It's already past 5 o'clock now. It's used up 30% of the battery, which is pretty durable. Now let's check the screen on time. 3 hours and 40 minutes? Now let me tell you about its 165 Hz. Yeah, it claims to have a 165 Hz refresh rate. But it's not 165 Hz everywhere. Let me show you. See that? The maximum is 165, but it only works in certain gaming scenarios. It's not like it's 165 Hz all the time, like when you're swiping on the home screen or scrolling through cool APK. It's not 165, it's all 120. Only some games actually run at 165 Hz. Now let me show you how it performs in games. Let's see how it feels to play a game on it. Naraka Blade Point on the highest settings. The extreme setting is locked and hasn't been optimized yet, and the default action resolution is set very high. See that? This is the device load under the current configuration. Yeah, when I used the A6, it didn't show this kind of heavy load. Let's play around first. After about 20 minutes of gaming, it used up about 6% of the battery. That's pretty good, and the gameplay is quite smooth. It's just that the original screen protector is too sticky. Definitely need to switch to tempered glass. As for its battery life, it's 8 o'clock now and there's still half the battery left. This 8,300 milliamp hour battery is really big. The battery life is impressive. Let me show you the screen on time, okay? 5 hours and 44 minutes. Really impressive. Plus, I played an hour of Forever Goodbye. Let me tell you about its vibration feedback. The motor's pretty good. Honestly, for this price range, it's a solid experience. As for the motor quality overall, well, of course, you can't compare it to the OnePlus 15. It's just not on that level. Next, let's talk about its sound quality. The volume is really loud, but the sound quality itself isn't that great. However, even when you turn the volume all the way up, the back cover and the screen barely vibrate, which is actually pretty good, right? It's definitely better than, some other brands out there. Yeah, for sure. It's already 10 o'clock now, and there's 36% battery left. Let's check out the battery life. Screen on time, 6.5 hours. I'd say if you use it heavily for a whole day, getting 8 hours of screen on time is super easy. Basically, charging it once a day is no problem at all. Now, let's take a look at its background app management. Has the app retention. I bought the 12GB RAM version, so with 12GB, let's check the Notes app. Notes app, no problem at all, runs smoothly. WeChat knows I won't bother checking. Games. They're not running anymore. Let's check this one. This one's also not still running. Nope, it's not running either. Let me check PUBG. PUBG Mobile, I'm guessing it's not running either. Yep, it's not. Now let's check short videos. Short video apps are still running. As for games, if you open too many, none of them stay running. So to sum up, the advantages are the big battery and the single cell design.